Welcome to the Nerd Party.
They can travel anywhere in time and space.
Off we go into time and space.
So all of time and all of space is sitting out there.
Welcome to Time and Space, one group of friends adventure through the Doctor Who universe. I'm Daniel Prue.
And I'm Darren Moser.
And I'm the colorful companion, Phillip Gilfus.
So what makes you so colorful, Phillip?
Well, the beard.
Okay.
You know.
Does that mean what it means in Star Trek? Because that's usually not a good thing. But I'm a little out of my depth, okay?
Yeah, Darren, if you want to talk Star Trek, I got a podcast you can come on. But yeah, I don't think there's enough beards in Doctor Who. But speaking of beardless people, it's not even a segue. I'm just forcing it.
That was a good try.
Yeah, I know. But anyway, there were a lot of articles, and I'm not going to dwell on the negative stuff, but there were a lot of articles about Chris Eccleston lately. He's apparently doing his first con appearance, which, cool, right? And
yeah.
He's sort of on record as being like, oh, it's cool if other people want to do that, but that's not my thing. I'm an actor. He didn't really say that, but that's what he was saying. But he's doing his first one, which is cool, over in the UK, and there was some, I guess, some references to fans not... that he was charging a lot for autographs or whatever, which I thought was kind of weird because I don't know if UK people just aren't used to it, but he was charging about what US celebrities charge. I guess maybe they're not used to.
Look, they chose to Brexit, and that messed up all their prices, so they have no one to blame but themselves. Just kidding. We don't actually feel like that, UK listeners.
I feel like, but here's the thing about Eccleston is I feel like every single interview I ever read about him could be boiled down to I'm an actor.
I know.
And I don't know. I don't know. It's cool. It's cool that he's doing it though.
Thor 2. That's all I'm gonna say.
Well, you can listen to the filibuster on the network here where I talked Thor 2.
Oh yeah, look at that. There's all sorts of cross pollination going on, huh?
Yeah. And speaking of cross pollination, apparently a trip to the Metro just isn't the same anymore, is it, Daniel?
Oh no, it's true. I was in DC proper this weekend, which I'm not there, not infrequently, but not all the time. And it was also the weekend of Awesome Con, so we got to see quite a few characters walking around the streets and on the Metro dressed up as this or that. Yeah, I saw a pretty cool Rey from Star Wars, and I saw somebody as the Vault Hunter, not Vault Hunter. Sorry, that's a different game. The Vault, I don't know, character? Your main character in the Fallout series. Okay. So he had the huge blue jumpsuit and the Pip-Boy.
He's got the 111 on the back. And
it was 101, yeah. Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Which is the one that was Fallout 3, which took place in DC. So, plenty of Doctor Who cosplay to go around. And I don't know enough old Doctor Who to say exactly what it was, but I know
Daniel, I believe you mean classic Doctor Who.
I mean, was there a scarf? That's 50%. That's their starting question.
I didn't see any scarves. No.
And scarves usually 75% of it if you're doing it right.
No. But you know what it reminded me of too? Seeing a lot of that was the, and I know you'll be familiar with this, Phillip, was the Dr. Spacetime convention episode from Community. So
that's hilarious.
That was a good flashback there.
Well, speaking of cons, Darren, did you see any Doctor Who stuff over at WonderCon?
Yeah, WonderCon was a lot of fun. I think, I saw the basics. You have the fez wearing ones and the scarf wearing ones and the Elizonzis ones, and it was, I think there was a TARDIS dress or two and a Dalek dress, but nothing. I don't think I saw any Weeping Angels. I mean, those are the normal ones you see that have persisted throughout time and or space. But no, WonderCon was a lot of fun. I, of course, took K2SO there for the whole day on Saturday, and it was a lot of fun. It's the con I'd really wanted to bring him to since I had built him, and it was worth it.
Yeah, no, I saw the video. It was very cool.
Does anybody cosplay as the TARDIS? Just a big box? That would be pretty fun.
I saw someone cosplaying as Mjolnir. and they would like run up to Thor's, or they'd like push themselves against Loki's.
Throwing people left and right. That's hilarious.
There was like a Hela who was like holding on to it, like she was gonna crack it, and I mean we're talking like a giant tube is like his body. I mean this thing is probably like 8 feet wide at the top, but
so when he was in an elevator,
I don't know if he ever fit in an elevator. I was gonna say
that doesn't count.
That's the one good thing about WonderCon though, is all their doors are like 9 feet tall, so I never had to duck, which was very nice.
Well, change is part of Doctor Who, whether it's new Doctors or companions. But one thing that also changes frequently is the intro and theme music arrangements of the show. From black and white titles to modern graphics, each intro reflects new developments in the franchise, and we will be going through all of them here in our discussion. That's pretty exciting.
So there's like 50 intros, right? Every year, even if there's a slight difference.
No, that's not how it works.
Oh, okay.
It basically like in the dark era when there wasn't any, you just had to make your own intro every year.
Oh, geez, that would be. No, I'd say about 18 or 19 or so.
Mm-hmm.
So that's not too bad.
Yeah, and there's probably maybe some special ones, like during a Christmas special, there'd be one with snow and maybe one with an electric guitar. But, if you're just going to do your broad-based ones. But, yeah, I guess let's start at the beginning. Let's go 50-plus years back to the first one. So I guess let's just start in the black and white era, for lack of a better term. And these are sort of going to be our own groupings we've made here, but just go with us for the sake of conversation. And this would sort of be the first and second Doctor openings. So, I mean, the first one, of course, is the first one. It's the one that established the look, the feel, the theme music, and all that stuff in between. What do you guys think of sort of the original, if you will?
I mean, it's a catchy tune. I mean, there's a reason that theme has
humming it in the shower.
Pretty much stuck around for 50 years. It's like the other great themes. It works really well, and visually, I mean, they're using a slit scan technique to do that kind of like kaleidoscope-esque, you're going through time and space, and even though it's just shades of gray, but the imagination takes you even farther. So
yeah, I guess it's very early. I mean, this is gonna sound stupid, but I'll say anyway. It's very early electronic music. I mean, but it is. I mean, this a genre that it would not really become. The dance circuit, the discotheques would not be playing it for a while.
There's not a 70s dance version like the Star Wars disco.
It was interesting because being more familiar with modern, not new Who, whatever you want to call it, and not having a lot of familiarity with this old stuff about just how much of it is pretty much the same,
The foundation.
Yeah, you can see it, obviously, and then of course we'll go down the list and see the small changes that go over time. But even from the very first get-go, it's like, yeah, man, when they made that, obviously they had a vision, and it was great. It was I'm sure it was amazing at the time, and still really cool to look back on to see kind of what they could do with the limited technology that they had. But of course, and like Darren said, the music itself is pretty awesome, even from the very beginning.
Now, when I was reviewing this stuff, my wife happened to be in the room, and she doesn't ever watch Doctor Who, but she was kind of listening to it, and she was remarking about how weird it sounds. Like, I don't know if I'd want to watch that kind of a show, but I mean, the music, because we're used to it, right? But if you're hearing it, it is sort of like left field, craziness of what kind of a show am I watching here? With the visuals and the music and this is going to be a kid's show, because that's what it was at the beginning. But it's kind of, scary, right? For lack of a better word, right? But
it's kind of creepy. It's always had a little bit of
creepy. Maybe that's the right word,
Yeah.
What's that word I'm looking for? Creepy. Yes.
But this isn't hey, family fun show. This is okay, Twilight Zone or kind of in that realm.
A lot of Twilight Zone vibes. That's actually kind of an interesting one to compare it to. Obviously, that has its own sort of classic intro. But totally different, not music based. It's got the whole monologue and stuff going on. But it's very different from anything else I imagine that you would have seen on television at that time.
And then I don't know, Darren, you were talking a little bit about the effects, but I mean, even for the time, because sort of Doctor Who was, if I can say this, the redheaded stepchild of BBC at that time.
Right,
but
we'll give you 50 cents to make this intro. Here's a bit of equipment.
Yeah, and I'm sure people listening are probably smarter about this than I am, but like it's just like a camera looking at a camera, and just playing with the effect.
Yeah, pretty much. I mean, you're using like, early green screening or not green screening, there'd be blue screening back then. But yeah, it's really simple, and it's just the Doctor's face, and it's like, ooh, it's coalescing, and I mean, it doesn't advance too much beyond that at the beginning, but...
Well, and I mean, you talked about the faces, so like, what do you think now, with the second Doctor, he actually got the, hi, I'm the Doctor in this. I mean, how do you think, do you like that, the inclusion of actually having the Doctor in the opening versus the first one, where it's just sort of, I guess, introducing the feel of the show?
Right. Yeah, no, I like the Doctor, and you'll see that a lot, going forward for the next several versions, but they change it, but they don't change it too much. But after that, it's like, okay, we have the slit scan and we have the Doctor's face and maybe something else, and then eventually it starts to, evolve from that. But it's kind of like, okay, we gotta, not to harken back to other shows, but it's like we gotta have a shot of the Enterprise flying by and the title credit of the person come up in a color. Like, it's pretty much the exact same intro, used for those two shows. But no, I like it. I think it's also smart, especially, in syndication, which obviously wasn't a thing back then, but, or reruns as it were. But the fact that you, from the very beginning of the show, you now know, oh, it's this Doctor, because you literally see his face, and that's kind of important in telling which one you're seeing.
I thought I didn't like the faces. And it was interesting, we went through the whole thing, and I'm just going to skip ahead just for a quick second.
Out of time.
Yeah, I know. I guess it's.
Totally they are creepy as all get out. I mean, I'm not denying that.
No, but it's like there's an interesting little bit of an homage with Capaldi. They show his face.
Well, you can't jump to like 11, Daniel. Like, there's an order to these things.
It's fair play. You can jump go around anywhere you want. I'm just saying that, like, so you don't have the face in the first one. You do in the second, and then probably for the next, whole bunch. And then there's a bunch that don't have it, and then it comes back for Capaldi. Probably as an homage to that original. I don't like the faces. It just because it feels a little cheesier to me than not having the faces. I don't know. It's hard to explain. But the one thing that Doctor Who doesn't need is more
buckle
cheese.
Up, Daniel, for the next couple of decades, because I just...
Well, yeah, all right. Yeah, it sounds like Daniel wants to burst ahead and maybe add some color to the thing.
Exactly. There you go. Yeah.
So I think the next one we're going to talk about is just the 70s. This would have been... I'm doing rough notes here. The third Doctor had two different openings, and then the fourth Doctor, we're just going to talk about his first version, so sort of three openings, and we can go in order or any way you want to do it, but what do you guys think of sort of the introduction of color and then sort of the...
Well, the third Doctor is literally basically the same thing, but in color. Like, it's really not that different, but and again, it's like, okay, I get you're trying to make it special, maybe, but like lighting a face from the sides only looks really scary and creepy, but,
Well, that's why people were watching it from behind the sofa. No, I don't know. Darren, I don't know if you consider yourself sort of like a logo person, but, with the third Doctor, we sort of get the H, whereas,
right.
1 and 2 is sort of like the...
Yeah, it feels like, oh, okay, this is going to be the new logo, and it's going to stand the test. Nope, yeah, we're going to change it again in like half a year. No, this is going to be the logo, and it's... Nope. Yeah, I mean, it's like each... I mean, I remember that in Modern one, like you had the... My favorite is, I think it's David Tennant's, where it actually is the D and the W that looks like the TARDIS, like on the corner.
That's Matt Smith.
Yes, yeah, that is my like. It's like it's clever. It's like good iconography, and it, you instantly know what it is, and it is the TARDIS, and it's like, oh, cool. Like, I could see that becoming the brand, and it's like, nope. They're gonna change it to again. It's like, okay, whatever. You just don't get attached.
It's so funny too. Like the 70s and 80s intro. Like, as you go through them, they
have the diamond. They had the diamond forever. Like, that was the thing.
A reflection of their times.
Oh yeah.
Like, eventually you move into like the neon logo as well, and it's like,
oh yeah, you have the redhead. There's definitely a redhead stepchild in this list. We will get to it.
But even like the first, the Eccleston Doctor Who logo is really like early
I
2000s as
did
well.
that didn't even feel like a logo to me. It's like that weird giant
it felt like a placeholder.
ellipse with like the word Doctor Who, and there's like a dot in certain spots, and I'm like, what does the dot mean?
Yeah.
Like, what is going on?
So I don't know, like, I mean, I think towards the tail end, like the newer stuff kind of is a little bit better as far as that's concerned, but like, which is, maybe, I don't know, it's not a bad thing. It's just, you can really tell from these intros, but both the sound, like the differences in sound from the intro music and the logo, you can kind of really gauge where you are, even if you're not super familiar with, the Doctor or anything like that. It does reflect the times, I think, of really, really well of when it was created.
Oh yeah, they're a time capsule for sure.
Well, I thought so. The diamond logo you mentioned, that was sort of the '70s logo with sort of, this was in the second, third one, and the first, fourth one. The like you said, the diamond logo, which I don't know. I don't know if it looks particularly '70s. Like, it could be '80s. I mean, I don't know if it's, but it's I don't know. It's kind of, when you think classic Doctor Who. Maybe this is just me. I tend to think of the diamond one, but that's just me.
It always looks like a coloring book thing to me. Like, I've always thought of it as something it's like so weird as like a show logo. I don't know. It just looks like it's like Doctor Who Junior, and you can play the computer game or something like that.
I mean, it is kind of nice because it is a square just tilted, so it is, you could be like the top of the TARDIS or something. Like it fits in and the blue, like it's not a TARDIS blue, but it's, it's not a bad logo. Again, it's like, okay, I mean, again, I don't want to be the person to have to design a Doctor Who logo. It's like, what the heck are you going to make that? I mean, I think it's been done very well at times. And as you were saying, the fourth Doctor had the diamond logo, but it's also the first time we see the TARDIS in
I know, isn't that
the
kind
intro.
of funny to think that it took like until, I think it's the
74 was when
it wasn't until the fourth Doctor that you actually got the TARDIS in the intro,
and that definitely spruces it up a bit.
I think,
and
of course the creepy Doctor face, but at least we had the TARDIS, for
like, is the TARDIS flying into his face or what's happening here? No, I like putting the TARDIS inside the intro because obviously you're going to have something iconic in there. That's going to make the most sense. And then of course that, as far as I'm aware, since I watched the rest of them, I can say this with some certainty. That's included in every introduction afterwards, I'm pretty sure. So,
yeah, I mean, it almost seems like you're sort of building the, so like the first black and white is just the title, and then like, oh, we need to put the Doctor in it. So okay, so Doctor Who's now the title or the logo and the guy who's the Doctor, and then like, oh, TARDIS, we need TARDIS. But then I think even with the third Doctor, like the third Doctor one is, to me, and this is, you almost get more of the time vortex for the first time.
Yeah.
The other one, it's sort of the kaleidoscope, but with that, the first, third Doctor one, you sort of start to get a vortex going on of being kind of, swirling in through time and space, I suppose. But yeah.
Yeah. Well, and going into
the building blocks.
Yeah, and going into like the second, fourth Doctor one, I mean, okay, this is where we start to get really trippy because
all right, we're in the 80s now.
You're in the 80s and you're post Star Wars now at this point. And
Darren, I think we all differently do calendars, but that does sound like
it's.
I think you meant post motion picture. So,
well, no, I'm just saying because you're in space now, and you have the Doctor Who logo, which is the unified type. With Doctor, and then it links around to Who. So again, that's kind of a Star Wars-ish, with the letters that link into each other. And then it's like,
neon one.
But to make it different, it like splits a billion times up and down to like assault your eyes.
Well, I thought it was a little bit, I mean, I don't know. This is always hard to measure when you say more modern looking, because like compared to what? But I thought, with the second, fourth Doctor one, now that we're in the 80s, it was a little bit more modern looking as far as the space effects. Like, it looked like a little bit more like what space looks like, as far as how they were introducing that. I'll admit it was a little weird with the Doctor's head in this one. But it definitely was sort of emphasizing sort of the star twinkles. That's my lack of better word, in that first one. But yeah, now we go to, as you said, the neon logo, the electric logo, whatever you want to call it.
Yeah.
Which in and of itself, I don't think is bad. I mean, it's just very simple, compared to the diamond, which is a little more complex, and this is sort of
it's not bad. It just, especially like in light of, say, Stranger Things, like which
Oh,
is
yeah.
which is retro, nostalgic,
But good.
but good. If it just dates it to, which is fine. Again, like we talked about it in the 70s as well. It just dates it. It's like you don't see a logo like that anymore. Like there's no logos unless they're purposefully trying to be set in that time period. It's a very distinctive sort of look. I agree. It's not. I don't like the diamond logo. I don't dislike the neon logo. The neon logo's fine for me.
Because I think with the second, fourth Doctors one, because the fourth Doctor, it wins for time in the TARDIS as far as being the Doctor. So I guess as far as classic, maybe that's the one people think of. I don't know. Everyone has their own Doctor, right? But sort of with the blue vortex. And I think it's interesting when you compare it to the modern stuff when you're sort of like moving around to sort of see the static vortex. You're kind of like, oh, I don't know, it's not that bad. I mean, like, even though you feel like that maybe that dates it, but I'm like, I don't know. There's nothing wrong with not throwing your, going all around the world there.
And then it stuck around because we also see that pretty much identical intro in the Fifth Doctor in Peter Davidson's. They just replaced his face,
They make it a star connect the dot face.
Right, exactly. Yeah, it's like, I'm sure some bean counter in the back's like, guys, if we just took the face out, we could use the same logo for each season. It's like literally the one thing that changes. Why did we put it in the intro?
Yeah, and it's one of those things as we change Doctors and logos a little bit more quickly in the 80s, unfortunately, or fortunately, I don't know, depending on one's point of view. Are we kind of being stuck in the same thing? Because now we're like, okay, we got to have the Doctor. Okay, well, with Sixth Doctor, we're not going to just have his face. We're going to have his sort of, I don't know, upper neck, like you just sliced him off there, because we got to have all the color in there for his costume. Anyway, but then we're like, you know what? Let's animate it, okay? And then you have with the Seventh Doctor, let's get him to wink. It's like maybe we should just stop using the face. I don't know, guys. It's just getting creepier and creepier, isn't it?
Yeah. Like the Sixth Doctor. I mean, it's like, okay, let's take the light show up a notch. The light show now goes to 11. And
no, this is 6, Darren.
No,
we'll get to 11 soon enough.
Yeah, that's true. But yeah, it's then you start to have like the 2 or 3 frame Doctor face, and that's even creepier. I mean, you thought it was already creepy enough, but it's like a normal resting face, and then all of a sudden, like 3 frames later, it's smiling. But it like happens so fast, you like double take, and you're like, oh my gosh, now it's like creepily smiling at me. It's like,
it's a very early take on the GIF, and they're really experimenting with it.
You mean the GIF, Daniel? The GIF?
Whatever. I'm not going to have that argument, but
we're using the British pronunciation. But it's I guess as much as we're making fun of it, if they were sort of feeling like guys, we're doing the same thing. You know what? Guys, we have Sylvester McCoy, 7th Doctor. We fired Colin Baker. We're going to start new. Let's make this intro like 5 hours long. Exploding stars. Let's travel in a bubble.
It's 87, so we got... there's this new thing called CGI, and we're going to kind of use it, maybe.
It's a little much. I mean, I'm not saying whether it's good or bad. It's just a little much, I think. At that point, you're like, is this a movie? No, it's just the TV series. Okay, guys, I feel like we may be missing some story here by having a...
Well, and then you have the dual fonts with, like, the super block fat Who and the little, like, Doctor. And I'm like, okay.
That to me, like the neon one, I mean, I know neon is stereotypically 80s, but, like, I don't know, like you said, if it's a throwback,
no, this
it could be
80s.
Any decade. This is 80s. There's no if, and, or buts. I feel like I'm watching some sort of 80s cartoon of like, dinosaurs.
Yeah, this is bad
or something.
For sure. The font for Who needs to go on a diet.
Oh, it's so bad. Yeah,
it's just bad. But yeah. I mean, like I said, it goes from real 80s-ish to like way more 80s-ish. Like it doesn't like they just kind of double down on exactly what's going on at the time. So this one wasn't super spectacular for me.
But like with the 7th Doctor one, it almost is like, and I don't mean this as a complaint. It's almost like a fan-made one, in as much as because it goes on so much and it's so complex. You're like, oh, someone's having fun with it. Like, no, this is the one we're using each and every week. I'm like, oh, I would have.
Well, and it's a minute. It's really long.
Yeah, it's like, it's not professional. I mean, like, it's cool, but not really professional.
Then you got the movie 7 seasons in a movie or whatever.
We go into the dark period when you had to make your own logo every year. And then we sort of go into nuWho. I don't know, because what do you call the TV movie? I'll let other people debate. But anyway, we get the movie intro, which I thought was interesting for a few reasons. But first, let me hear what you all thought about the TV movie intro.
It's the only one that I actively disliked.
Oh, really? Okay.
Yeah.
I mean, it's super simple. Like like you'd think, like technically the other ones kind of have more going on than the movie intro. But I do like the classic, Who with the H. I mean, it throws back to like the diamond logo. It's just without the diamond. And so it's a good balance. I mean, this is almost going back to the third Doctor, Yeah.
Classic.
But
yeah,
I'm like, okay, if you're like, this is, movie budget stuff, but you're like, I mean, get a champagne
TV
bottle
movie
flying
budget.
across.
TV, yeah, put a little asterisk.
It had the word movie in it, so.
BBC Fox. So, yeah. Well, I thought one thing, it almost seemed like they didn't know where to go because it's a subtle vortex, but you're still in space. Like, they didn't, go full vortex. If that
never go
sense.
full vortex.
But, this is the first time, though. I mean, they did introduce the shooting credits that we get from now on.
The Superman style credits.
Yes. So Daniel, you're saying you like the 70s and 80s more than TV movie.
Yeah, I would say so. I would say so. I don't know. It's the weird transition between, and I don't know that the first bit of music and the classic theme, which really kind of threw me off when I first listened to it, and then just the rest of it's boring. It's just boring. So.
Yeah, because we haven't really talked a lot about sort of how the themes have been changing. I mean, it is always the same arrangement. It doesn't
sometimes a little more rock guitar than others, but
yeah, electronic. No, I don't. But yeah, I guess as far as themes, the TV movie one's a little bit more staid. It's not, as you said, they given the opportunity to do something, they're just like, let's just keep it regular, guys.
Yeah, I don't know. It was just boring to me, and it didn't have any interesting thing to set it apart. Even we were talking about this stuff at this, pulled out of the 70s or the 80s, but that at least was distinctive. This just felt kind of generic and boring.
And I guess because they didn't want to, well, I don't know. I guess there's ways to think about it. I guess since they didn't want to introduce the 8th Doctor in the credits, since it was still the 7th Doctor when you started the TV movie, that's why I guess there's no face, coming at you. But I was like, I don't know, it would have been cool to have Paul McGann have his moment, But anyway, so, with the movie, there's no more faces. Now they're shooting credits at you. It's just what we're going to get. And that's what we get with official nuWho, with what we'll call the Davies area, with 9 and 10.
Yeah, so, okay, I like the vortex. The vortex is really good. This is my least favorite of all the logo shapes. The dots really bother me.
The logo is terrible.
I'm looking at it and it's okay, it's dot dot dot, nothing, dot that's between Doctor and Who, and then dot dot dot. I'm like, wait. So there's a dot between every letter except for C, T, and O. Why? I
think it's a message, secret message,
and then
from the Doctor.
I think later they take away the dots, and I'm like, I'm even more confused now. So I think
that's usually the difference between 9 and 10. 9 is the dots everywhere, have fun, connect dots, where 10 is just I guess the single dot in the middle between Doctor Who.
Yeah.
It's such an ugly, I can make this in Photoshop in 9th grade logo. I'm almost surprised it was actually.
And then they make it
logo.
spin which makes it look even worse. That's the least flattering way. I could
Guys,
see
you don't imagine this PowerPoint effect I have.
Well, imagine it's a sphere and it flattens into a ellipse, and then it tilts on its angle or something. It's no, we're gonna make it spin like a propeller top, and I'm like, it looks so bad.
Somebody made this logo in Office on Word 97 Word art in 10
in
minutes.
2005. Somehow they did it. I don't even know.
This is not a professional job. The gradients is all terrible. The text is almost unreadable in the beginning. It's just everything about it is ugly. And I know this isn't the logo show that we're talking about, but that's part of it. And
I imagine that would be on the Logo Network.
Yeah, exactly.
But so let's focus on what I would think hopefully is a positive, and that's music. We're now going let's crank this thing up to third gear.
Yeah.
We're now
right.
a little faster tempo, to say the least, right?
Some drums. Get some drums in there. Yeah, no, I like it. This is obvious. This is where I first knew the theme from. So, and I like this version. Even though, well, as we get on, we'll see how they change it and stuff like that. But I do like the music, and like Darren mentioned, the visuals as well are good. Up until you hit that logo, and then it's downhill from there.
Yeah, I almost wonder, and maybe this is me pushing a little bit, where the quicker tempo means we're now having quicker pacer shows. Instead of the 6 serial Doctor Who episodes, which you're like, really, guys? Yeah. I mean, come on. And we're going to have 1 episode. Maybe we'll do a 2-parter if we're feeling crazy. But, and so you're sort of bringing energy to it instead of the sort of sort of strange...
That does pick up. I mean, it's much more... It's got a better pace. Like, it's actually... It's not like, oh, let's just add a little bit of rock guitar. It's like, no, it's actually got more to it. I do like in the 10th Doctor, I like the perspective change where it's like you're following it through the blue and then it like you 180 and now you're following it through the pink. That's really cool. I like that. Like, because obviously you're getting the feeling of the TARDIS tumbling through, space and time. But then you just show it up with that god awful logo at the end, and even I'm looking at the non-dot one, and even that I'm like, it's this weird like gradient. I'm like, why would you do this red to yellow to orange? It's so bad. It's so
for some
bad.
reason, when I think of like a Doctor Who action figure pack, I imagine that logo on it for some reason. I don't know why.
It's bad.
Well, someone had posted on Twitter, which I know could be a million or millions of people. But anyway, they were talking about what's your favorite theme or arrangement. I guess your favorite arrangement is the same thing. Arrangement. And I was
if your eyes were shut and you couldn't see the terrible logo, okay,
exactly. Yeah, because I always thought like, it's going to be probably Matt Smith era, but then I listened to them. I'm like, no, it actually is the Rock 10th Doctor one because it does sort of just get you like juiced up. Yeah, we're gonna watch Doctor Who, and so
yeah, the theme is
quite
pretty
good.
good.
I like it too. Yeah.
The logo, not so much.
Okay. Wow. A lot of logo.
Let's move past this logo,
right,
please.
Well, let's regenerate into what we'll call the Moffat era. Of course, this is going to be 11 and 12. We're counting 11 as having 2 different intros.
Attention, there is a lightning storm that is rocking our TARDIS around.
It's interesting because I feel like the difference between 9 and 10 and 11 and 12, like, obviously the 9, with 9 you get nuWho, but 10 and 11 and on feels more like
New.
Like bring it to the modern era. Who like they got their first budget like before it was just like
now here's the budget. Okay.
I feel like they had more production that they were able to put into this sort of stuff, and it was, I don't know, maybe they went widescreen or HD for the first time. I don't know.
Well,
but it feels like it just feels like this is, for better or worse, like produced more. Like this is an actual like some serious effort and energy and money went into the CG of these later ones that aren't present in the earlier ones.
Yeah, so like with the first Matt one, and again, even though I started with 10 and 9, I did actually do it in that order. It was, you sort of think of the intro, but I guess Matt was the first Doctor I started with, from the beginning. And I guess I remember just seeing that intro for the first time, as the new intro. And I guess maybe in retrospect, it isn't that much to me. But at the beginning, it's like, oh, it's almost darker, which you guys know me. I'm not usually a fan of like gritty or whatever. But it's sort of like the clouds and the lightning, and then sort of the lightning goes with the music, and it was just sort of new and cool and just a different way to see the vortex as a cloud more than just CGI.
Well, we get 2 great things. We get our giant super fat font back with Matt Smith. It's like carved out of granite flying at you. I mean, it's huge. But then, we have the DW, Doctor Who, and just in case you weren't 100% sure what that was, it rotates into the TARDIS, which is a kind of cool effect. Yeah, this one, it's like, are we going through regeneration? Because it's like the fire and brimstone, at the end.
Yeah, Which I think is funny because, I don't think of 11 as the gritty, Doctor at all. But I guess if you're looking at the intro, it's almost like, all right, guys, this isn't your granddaddy's Doctor Who. Whether it's my favorite logo or not, I'll have to think about it. But it's versatile because you can either have Doctor Who or you can have DW, for, depending on what you're doing, a horizontal or a vertical. And then you still have the TARDIS, so it's sort of versatile for the Doctor Who.
Yeah, it's something I'm surprised they haven't, even when they do change the logo later on, I'm surprised they don't hold on to that because it is so cleverly done and it's so instantly recognizable and iconic that it's kind of a perfect logo. You can adjust it, but why not keep that sort of...
Yeah, I thought they were going to keep that, but no.
Yeah. Yeah, so what do you all think of sort of Matt's, Matt's, because I know him so well, but with Matt's second intro, I mean, it's sort of like kaleidoscope crazy. I mean, that's not a...
I feel like it homaged really well to, like, the first, like, third Doctor-esque. Like, you have a lot more of that feeling, and I like how the instead of the Superman fly at you, you get the kind of, like, particle effect of the names coming in. And you're going through space. It feels much more like a updated modern version of, like, the third or fourth Doctor's intro, which is nice. I like it.
Well, yeah, and I like it's fast and all this stuff. And I mean, Daniel, you're talking about
you get the Doctor's face again.
Yeah, how'd you like that going back to sort of the classic era that Matt kind of gets?
It didn't wink at me, so I was good.
Well, and it's more subtle, right? Because it's not like his whole face like
it's like in a nebula.
Yeah, and so it's just sort of like you could just, oh my god, that's Matt, and then shoot.
Matt is the Nexus.
But I mean, Daniel, you're sort of talking about production, but like imagination-wise, like, okay, guys, I want you to do something that's not just Vortex, and so, it's the nebula, it's this, it's that, it's boom, boom, boom. What'd you think of all that?
Yeah, I like it. It does feel like it's a purposeful homage to what's come before. Mm-hmm. Obviously, because with the one we were just talking about, his first introduction, it was big bombastic and the tunnel and all this sort of things, and this whole production. And this is much more simplistic. It's much more like, it's not as straightforward. It's just kind of like, oh, you're just kind of this easygoing thing, and then it's a callback to what has come before. I like it though. I think it works well. But like I mentioned before, it doesn't feel as big as the one before did, or is like
more colorful. Epic. I think.
Yeah, sure.
And you get I like it, but maybe people that think it's too cute by half. You get sort of and the TARDIS, and you go into the TARDIS, start the episode. Now 12.
Did you know that this show is about time and space, Philip? Because this intro is sure going to let you know.
Well, I think it's interesting because I think if you look at all the other intros, it's more space than time, and this one's like just time.
I know, it's like literally the first half of it is like honestly, it takes a moment to start because it's like you're going through the gears, and then you're still going through the gears, and now you're still going through the gears, and okay, now you're going through Roman numeral clocks. Okay, now you see the TARDIS at 12 seconds in. There's nothing Doctor Who-ish before. I mean, the whole thing is Doctor Who, but it's cool. It's very simple. It's like someone saw that animated GIF of the spiral clock and they ran with it and made it into an entire intro. But it's
the
nice.
gears I feel like are a little much, but I do like the clock, the never-ending clock face going down
instead of doing the vortex. Now, I don't know if you guys know the story. This is actually a fan-made. Not this version, but a fan made a version with the clocks, and the producers were like, okay, we're going to use that. And so they sort of took his design and modified it.
Use that as the concept.
But basically, this is a fan idea to use the clocks instead.
Oh, that's awesome.
Just
that's
the gears
cool.
Or also the spiral Roman numeral
The gears
clock?
and you can, and I'll include that in the show notes, the original fan version that was sort of
and
the
I do
basis
like,
for this.
You have the TARDIS coming out, and then you shift perspective again, and then it goes away. It's very similar to like the purple to pink shift, which I've always liked. So
and then we get
it's a good progression.
Instead of the whole face, we just get sort of the, I don't know what you call eyes. As
the brows.
Yeah, the eyebrows. We get his brows.
It's the
attack eyebrows.
He's the id from Forbidden Planet about to like take us over.
It's the same. It feels like it's the shot that they pulled from the crossover episode.
Oh, the 50th anniversary.
Yeah.
You mean, yeah.
Although he's got, if he makes that expression, he's just going to always have those eyebrows. So I guess it could have been from anything, but yeah.
Cool. Well, guys, before we move on, so any thoughts about what 13's intro should look like?
Oh, I didn't even think about that. That's a really good question. I think they and this is literally just because you just asked me 5 seconds ago, so I haven't really put.
Well, first, all right, so you guys, the new logo is the sort of the orange Doctor Who
with like the dashes through it.
Yes.
I like the logo.
So,
it's kind of a fresh.
It's very
breath.
horizontal. I mean, I know that sounds stupid, but
they've done a lot of stacking. Yeah. So there is no official intro yet for the 13th Doctor.
Mm-mm. So I was watching a lot of the fan versions. So if you want to go on YouTube,
there's fan versions aplenty.
Yeah. Which I think there are some interesting ideas. I saw some with, I don't know what you would call, I'm probably going to say this wrong, but like with sort of hexagrams or whatever. They're sort of moving these squares sort of like this as you go through the space. It was an interesting one, but I've seen a lot of interesting ideas out there. But what would you guys think of what the 13 should? Anything you would like to take or not take?
Yeah, I don't know.
I like the logo.
They could. I like the logo if they run with the whole like kind of beam of light like going through things, because that's what it seems to be like. It's going through the H and the O and the D, and I think if it continues that kind of a thing, I mean, you really could do almost anything. But I think it'll work. I'm looking forward to seeing it whenever it comes out.
I do hope. Obviously, we want to keep some sort of through line going through all this stuff. But I hope they do take this opportunity to kind of. And I know they try to do this every few years, but like just take the opportunity to kind of reinvent it. We just talked about 16, 17 different introductions, which more or less are kind of variations on the same theme, and I think you could pay homage to a good chunk of them and still do something really wild and out there, something crazy and new. And obviously with this being the first female Doctor, just take that and run with it. And kind of, I don't even know what that means. I'm not designing the show. I'm not a producer, so I don't have to know what it means.
It would be interesting to have something that, I mean, because you have the longer intros nowadays, like just to like coast by like literally 12 silhouettes or something. Like, I mean, you never see that in any of the intros. I'm trying to think if there was something like that for the 50th, or I thought I remember seeing something.
Credits. In the credits, it was sort of like the first Doctor credit, second.
Okay, yeah, something like that. But I think, not that they have to do that because that's not really the precedent. But you could do something like that where it's just show some sort of iconic outline of each character, just kind of like look how far we've come or something like that, or a giant male logo and then it rotates and now it's really simple.
That'll really get those trolls going.
Oh geez, don't do that, BBC. That's not a legitimate decision.
All right, well, we talked a bit, I'd say, about some introductions here, but let's take a look into the TARDIS library and talk about the very first color episode.
That's right. Now, what we're going to talk about is, as you say, we're talking about all these changes with the intros. Well, Doctor Who had a interesting change from the second Doctor to the third Doctor. Not only were we changing Doctors, we were going to be in color.
So this was an alternate Earth that was in color. That was a different Earth than the one that the previous Doctor visited.
Yeah, so we're going to be talking about the Spearhead from Space, which first premiered 3 January 1970. Here is a synopsis from TARDIS.wikia. Forbidden, I feel like I need background music as this scrolls. Forbidden to continue traveling the universe by his own people, the Time Lords, and exiled to Earth in the late 20th century. The newly regenerated Doctor arrives in Oxley Woods, accompanied by a shower of mysterious meteorites. Investigating the occurrence is UNIT, an organization which has previously been associated with the Doctor during the Cybermen's invasion. Led as before by Brigadier Alastair Gordon Lethbridge Stewart, UNIT is soon in action when people and meteorites start going missing. Most puzzling is the attempted kidnapping of a strange hospital patient, a man with 2 hearts, who insists that he knows the Brigadier. The new Doctor soon joins forces with his old friend, with UNIT, and with the recently recruited Dr. Elizabeth Shaw, but time is running out. Irregular things are happening at a nearby plastics factory, while faceless creatures lurk in the woods. The Nestines have landed a Spearhead, there you go, force and plan to conquer the country by substituting plastic Auton replicas for men and women in key government and military posts. So I guess it's hard to talk about the absence of something or the presence of something, but like, you know, like what's color look like? We all know what color looks like. But I mean, I guess, what do you sort of think knowing this is the first color episode of Doctor Who?
Well, I mean, first I want to get it straight. I will not be referring to him as Brigadier Alistair Gordon Lethbridge Stewart. He's going to be called Bagels going forward, because
the Brigadier.
That's just way easier to say. But yeah, I mean, they weren't exactly, again, Star Trekking it, as far as there wasn't like primary colors galore. I mean, you know, you still had color, but it wasn't like, you know, I mean, it would have been interesting if, like, the fourth Doctor had been the first one in color with, like, that scarf.
I was just going to say, it's the Doctor's outfit is primarily monochromatic, too, which is...
and he really wants his shoes, like, really bad.
I want the TARDIS keys in there.
But you have the TARDIS blue, but... so I guess I'm just saying they don't, you know, it's not like, 3D, and we're going to have everything come at the screen. It's like, no, it's just in color. Because, I mean, another thing to remember is, yes, it's the first one broadcasted in color, but that doesn't mean that people still didn't have black and white televisions.
Yes,
which you kind of needed a color television to see it. So you had to think about that still while you were producing something. You couldn't have, look at that red whatever, and it's like, oh, yeah, that's gray shade number 5, and that's... doesn't tell me anything, you know.
Yeah, and of course, you know, with the TARDIS landing, interesting. Like, you know, I'm not, you know, whatever. It's 1970. I'm not going to hit him too hard on it, but you know, sort of. Okay, well, the first time you see the blue TARDIS, right? You know, I'm sure you could figure it out in grayscale, but still.
I mean, remember the TARDIS was also a thing. Like, it was a police box that people had seen.
That's true.
Before.
People know what a police box is like.
Yeah.
Though I do the tease for me, we never get to see inside it. I'm like, oh man, because you know, you're like, oh, it's the third Doctor's new TARDIS, and oh, you guys.
Yeah, that's where you're gonna put all the color. Maybe.
No, I mean, we're talking first color episode. Now, this was, of course, the first time that the Autons were used. You knowing nuWho, as I know y'all do, the Ninth Doctor's first episode, Rose, had the Autons with, you know,
I'm
plastic.
very glad you brought that up, because I was going to ask that question. I'm like, yeah, okay, they're doing the mannequin thing. Is this was where it came from? And it was cool to kind of see that sort of the origins of that. That was really neat.
You have your first color Doctor. What'd you all think of Jon Pertwee and the third Doctor?
You know, it's, as people say, he's getting younger and younger, but he's not quite there yet. So it's, again, it's one of those things that it's not, you know, nuWho is all about, you know, like, oh, we got to cast like the hip, young, whatever, except for Capaldi. But, you know, it's, I don't know, I feel like I can't judge because I don't know enough about British, like, culture to, like, determine if this is a person that I would want to see on screen.
Yeah, he always strikes me, and again, 3 is probably the one I know the least, because I have not seen all of him. I've seen everything except 3, all of 3.
Was he the one with the car, with the big yellow car?
Well, that's what you remember where you saw the car that he stole, and he's like, I want to get one, you know, that was one of the conditions he had, and yeah, so Bessie will be the car we'll see later that will be yellow. Yeah. So
I mean, that makes sense. Again, we're in color. Of course, the car is like a bright canary yellow.
But of course, you know, he's stuck on Earth now, so we can't have colorful aliens and all that and whatever.
Well, that does help with the budget, Philip. Just a little. We're stuck in present day Earth. Darn.
Yeah, but it was always interesting, you know, when you have a new Doctor, because you usually half the time he doesn't know, you know, he's a little bit regenerated in the head. But I think he kind of, once he gets the cape on, and you're like, oh yes, that is the third Doctor outfit. The stereotype is sort of the James Bond of Doctor Who's with the third Doctor. Sort of the posh action
more
figure.
the James Bond Jr., but okay, I see where you're going.
Well, more Ian Fleming maybe than Sean Connery.
What did you think of this Dr. Daniel? I mean, not that you're a doctor, but you are Daniel.
Daniel Doctor.
Daniel Doctor. I mean, because again, I also know very little of the third Doctor, but I mean, he seems like a kind character. I mean, sometimes he came off to me as
charming in a sort of grandfatherly way.
Yeah, he's grandfatherly.
He was nice and much more soft-spoken than I would have expected from him visually. But he was really what I actually really enjoyed was the his companion there.
Liz.
Yeah, she was pretty cool.
Yeah, because we sort of had a lot of, you were talking about youth, Darren. The second Doctor had sort of Jamie and Zoe, sort of the kid companions. Sounds really silly, but younger companions. Whereas Liz is a scientist. She's a unit. She's an adult. She's not going to be the screaming, stereotype. She's going to be like, okay, let's do this stuff.
Well, and although I was expecting to hear the Star Trek IV escape music when he was wheelchairing away, because I think that would have been perfect. that polka music, that would have the only thing that could have made that scene better.
Yes, I was like, oh gosh, wheelchair escape. I think shades of second Doctor maybe here more than third, but it still works. Why not?
So, Philip, what are we going to be talking about next time?
Well, we're all going to be talking about next time. We're talking about changes and color. So what about a character that is almost outside of time and space? And that's River Song.
Oh, sweetie.
Yes. So we're going to be talking about if we can get her timeline correct.
Good luck.
Or whether the writers got her timeline correct. But anyway, we're going to be talking about River Song or Melody Pond, depending on what you refer to her as. All right, but before we talk about River Song, guys, where can we find you to talk about your favorite logo on the internets?
Well, people can find me on the internet, on Twitter, @OneUpDan. That's the number one, not the word, as in the 11th Doctor is still the best.
So it's
I was going to see how you're going to pull that one out from the first Doctor.
I tried. I just, you get what I'm saying.
All right, and Darren, if people want to have long Twitter discussions with you about gradients, where can they find you?
Let's not talk about that spinny pie plate of death. They can find me on Instagram and my website. Both are Dr. Sci-Fi, DRSCIFI.
And if folks want to talk to me about different theme tune arrangements, they can find me on Twitter, where my handle is @NCPublicServant, or they can listen to me each and every week on the network on City Alpha 3, where I talk Star Trek with my wife each and every week. Well, until next week, guys, you are my favorite companions in all of time and space.
Thanks. Aw, thanks.
This is BBC Television.